All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this live webinar. It's so great to have you all here again. For the ones who have joined previous webinars that I've held or have attended any of my paid classes, I say a big welcome. Tonight, we get to interact a bit. We get to ask questions. We get to share some of our thoughts, and which is what I always like to do live sessions from time to time. And I felt that it was quite important to do something like this at this time of the year. 2025 started with a big bang. For a lot of people, it was quite defining for them. And now that we have done half of the year, my spirit had been worrying inside of me to say, what exactly is happening to my people? I hope everybody is fine. And, some of that was what spurred me to say, you know what, let's have a mid-year check-in. Let's see how everyone is doing. Let's check the different areas of our lives and to be sure that we're actually making progress along those lines. And also, if there are areas where we're not doing well, let's look at what we can do to make it better. So that's why I said to myself, you know what, let's put this webinar together and let's have our people learn. The more we learn, the more we grow. The more we grow, the more we become. The more we become, the more satisfied we are. And the more satisfied we are, the more impact we make. And I want all of us making impact wherever we are. So on that note, we'll kick off tonight's webinar titled The Mid-Year Reset. Finish Big by December 2025. A few ground rules before we start. As soon as you join, just check that red microphone and make sure that you mute yourself. At my webinars, I also like you not to put on your videos because we found out that that helps the bandwidth a bit. That's it for ground rules. And tonight, I'd like to also recognize our sponsors for tonight. Tonight's training program has been sponsored by DAYWA. For past participants, they know who DAYWA is or what DAYWA is. DAYWA has kindly loaned you all her chief facilitator to hold this 2-hour session with everybody. So we're going to be having a word from our sponsors from time to time during the program, but let's give it up for DAYWA. Thank DAYWA very much because they're the ones paying the Workplace Mentor to give you this session for free. As usual, if you've attended any of the Workplace Mentors webinars, she always starts with a disclaimer. This is important because what I share in my webinars are mostly advice, strategies, opinions, and because we're all adults, and this is a highly litigious society these days, I usually like to place a disclaimer that the information that is shared on any of my webinars is only intended for the participants that are here and is based on the research experience and the opinion of the Workplace Mentor. In other words, if what you learn here, you decide to go and share it with a third party who was not here while we were talking about it, who did not understand the context in which it was shared, and that person goes ahead to implement a part of it that doesn't work, both of you should not come back to the Workplace Mentor that you're the one that advised us to do that. And then the second disclaimer is that all participants on this call are adjudged to be over 21 and therefore competent enough to analyze and tailor any shared strategies here to their individual situation. And they are fully responsible for the outcome of such decisions. And finally, the opinions and strategies shared are based on general working principles, which may or may not align with your particular experience. So once we understand these three, I think we are good to go. Now, what do we want to take out from this webinar? I want us to be able to take 3 things away from this webinar when we're done at the end of the presentation. These are the 3 takeaways that hopefully would be able to get at the end of this presentation. 1, to determine the level we're at in terms of your total well-being at this point in your life. Maybe 10 years ago, you were at a fantastic point, but something may have happened during this last 6 months, and we just want to be sure that we're keeping track of what is going on. Second is that you must understand what you then need to do to reset for the second part of this year. And third is that you must know what step you are going to take come tomorrow, 14th July 2025. We're on to welcome and introductions. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're joining us from. All right, I can see people in the comment section. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Lauren Topba from Ilorin, Kwara State, Elizabeth from Enugu, Marcellus from Lagos. Shubomi is calling us from Ontario. Fantastic. Shubomi is the first international person I'm seeing here. Welcome, Shubomi. Patience Ejeba from Yaba. Patience, how are you? Anita from Port Harcourt, Blessing from Lagos, Yetunde Jimo from Lagos, Antonia DAYWA from Lagos, Osita, Joy Enahimon was the first person to enter this class. It was like she was waiting for me to open the gates of the class. As soon as I clicked start, like I just saw her number. Bah! I said, look at this woman. I'm sure she's been waiting since. So Joy, you're welcome. Osita from Lagos, Roberta from Accra. There were 3. Of course, I remember you. James Emmanuel from Oshogbo, Adwa from Ghana, also a DAYWA person. I'm sorry. Oreoluwa. I'm so sorry, people who are not DAYWA people. Just allow me to be greeting my people. It's so great to meet them. All right. Oreoluwa, of course, I know it's you. Tracy from Warri. Chinedu, well, we know we have things to discuss after. Charity, past DAYWA participant as well from Ghana. Sunday from Abuja. Joshua from Asaba. Hasfat from Kano State. Ose, my baby. Ma from Lagos as well. Noye from Enugu. Yes, I remember you, Noye. Tony was one of the first people to join as well from Lagos. Mercy, Nena from Lagos. Precious, Olatunde, and Amina from Jos. Wow, we have such a varied participant group today, and I'm so grateful that you are all here. So for those who are meeting me for the first time, my name is Margaret Ifoma Omobude, and I am your workplace mentor. If you go on Instagram or on Facebook, you probably see me post things there from time to time, talking about how you can enjoy your career life. I am one of the proponents. I believe so strongly that you can be a 9-to-5 worker and you can earn big, you can be a millionaire, and you can have all you want. You can earn from multiple streams of income. You can do whatever you want. I'm one of those people who don't believe that you have to be an entrepreneur to make money. You can make money right from your 9-to-5 doing legitimate work. It just takes you understanding some strategies and for you to move ahead and do the right thing. So I've been working in corporate for 24 years now. My bias is HR. I'm a graduate of sociology and psychology. It's the psychology bit we're going to be doing quite a bit tonight. Started my career with the consulting giant PwC, and then moved on into oil and gas from there, worked there for a while, moved around a bit, and today I am finally settled at a company called Rain Oil Group, where I am the group head of people and culture. A fantastic company, if I do say so myself. I'm having the best time of my life. And for those who have run my courses, I always tell you that, see, there is nothing you can't get if you have the right skills. You get yourself to a point where you develop the right skills that the market wants, and then you can call your number and tell whomever you're sitting in front of that this is what I want, and they'll be scrambling to give you that compensation you've asked for. You can dictate your terms when you are at certain levels. It doesn't come immediately, but if you build yourself to that point, you can actually do it. It has happened to me, so I know it's possible. And so I keep preaching for 9-to-5 workers that don't feel like you are getting the worst part of the deal, and all your entrepreneurial friends, who are dancing on Instagram, who look like they're making so much money. I'm not against entrepreneurship, don't get me wrong. I believe some of us even have a side hustle here and there, which is fine. Whilst I was in employment, I was doing all sorts of things. At some point, I owned a gym. At some point, I owned a hair salon. Then I owned a bridal shop. Then I ran an events planning center. Then I sold clothes. So I'm not new to entrepreneurship. So it's not a lack of doing it that's making me say you don't have to do it. I have done it all. But I also know that if you work the right strategy, sitting in your office, you can make money. You can make good money with less stress. And if you do have the penchant for entrepreneurship, why not? It can also be one of your multiple streams of income. In fact, I believe that entrepreneurs who do best are those who started off from 9 to 5 because they have learned structure, they understand how business works, they understand relationships. You see all these vendors that they're always calling out on Instagram for not having a customer service, it's because they've not worked in corporate. If they have worked in corporate in a bank where they've sat in front of a customer at a customer service desk, do you really think a customer service officer in a bank will start her own business and be rude to a customer? Do you get it? So sometimes it's a lack of structure that they have not had that makes them behave in such ways that is shocking to those of us who have gone through professional training. And that's why the customers are so annoyed that they have to just call them out. So this is just to say, I'm a firm believer, that corporate works, corporate pays well. But at the same time, we have to be careful so that we're not stuck in one spot. And then I run the DAYWA program. It's my signature program. They're the ones who sponsored us today that made it possible for me to hold this for free. It's a signature program that is held every quarter. It's essentially a workplace soft skills training program. It is run for 3 weeks and you learn all sorts of things about how to succeed and thrive at your workplace. So that is it from me. I'm married to a wonderful, wonderful man who just shakes his head every time I'm downstairs again trying to do webinars, and I'm just, don't worry, everything, just keep on. So, and I have 3 wonderful, well-adjusted, brilliant, fantastic children. I mean, if you don't hype your own children, who will hype them for you? And they're just awesome. So all in all, I've lived a fantastic life, still living it. I can only be grateful to God for how far he has brought me. All right, that is it. Thank you for everyone who has also introduced themselves. I'm sure we'll have a fantastic time as we go on tonight. So half year is over. Half year 2025 is over. How did you do? That's what we're going to be starting off tonight. But before we kick off, a quick word from our sponsors. A quick word from our sponsors tonight. So DAYWA, the sponsor of tonight's training program, is kicking off her cohort 8 in October 2025. The class will start October 27, 2025. DAYWA is the premier workplace soft skills coaching program for ambitious career professionals. And DAYWA has trained over 400 professionals in the past 2 years now, who have all gone off to, record different testimonials from their time at DAYWA. DAYWA is a 3-week coaching program that is taught via pre-recorded videos and live sessions with the workplace mentor. The last cohort for this year is going to happen October 27th, and we're currently running a discount in the month of July for a fee of 37,500 naira only. That promo will run all through July. After July, the fee goes back to the normal rate. So if you're interested in DAYWA, you can sign on, pay, take advantage of the early bird fees, and join us come October 27th so that you'd enjoy what others have also been enjoying. That's it from our sponsors. Let's move on to our course. So back to class. Before a mid-year reset, we must first understand what we could have done better January to June. So like we say in consulting, you can't profess solutions if you don't know what the problem is. So we're going to go through 3 stages, which is we'll assess what level are you at today, we'll identify what the gaps are, what did you do wrong or what are you still doing wrong, and then we'll improve. What actions must you take going forward to do better? That's what we're going to be doing tonight. And if you watch any of the posters for the media reset, I thought about it for a long time that which tool should I use for us to assess how well we have done. Like I said, I have a bias in psychology, so tools and templates for self-coaching, self-evaluation, I have them plenty. So I thought about it, and I felt that the one about the wheel of life, some of you may have come across it, the wheel of life looked like the most, the one that fit the arc the most for me. So I decided that we would use the Wheel of Life self-evaluation to do this half-year evaluation and then reset. So what exactly is this Wheel of Life? For those of you who have maybe never heard about it before. So the Wheel of Life is a self-evaluation tool that helps you look at a snapshot of your life across different critical areas of life growth. Different critical areas of life growth. What it aims to do is to help you evaluate how well you are doing across those different areas, across those different categories. And then you have to assign like a weight to where you are on each of those criteria. And when you have assigned the weight, we'll now evaluate how well you're doing in some areas, how badly you're doing in some areas, and what we need to do to change that. And why I also chose the Wheel of Life is you will see that across the 8 critical growth areas that we're going to be looking at tonight, they sort of encapsulate all the different parts, all the different facets of our lives. I came across this Wheel of Life, I think it was in 2017. I came across it, I think, in 2017 when I attended a soft skills training program in the US. And the facilitator taught us this Wheel of Life, but he started off by talking about the fallacy of the Titanic. He said that when the Titanic was built, you know, they made a lot of allusions as to how the Titanic could not sink. And why they were so sure that the Titanic could not sink was because before that time, all the ships used to have what was called a single hull. So the single hull made it such that if water or icebergs, if they came across or they ran into some iceberg in the ocean, and if it broke through the first hull, that's like the covering of the ship, if it broke through it, and then water will enter the ship and the ship will sink. So when they were going to build the Titanic, they compartmentalized it such that it did not have a single hull, it had multiple hulls. So he had the covering, then they had another part, inside of it. So as far as they were concerned, they felt that they had done it in such a way that even if it hit an iceberg and water entered into part of the ship, because they had compartmentalized it, the water will be contained in a part of the ship. It will not be able to go to other parts of the ship, and therefore the ship would not sink. So this was why they made so much noise about how it was an unsinkable ship. All right. Unfortunately, on its maiden voyage, that particular theory was tested. And when it was tested, it failed woefully, as you and I know. So the Titanic hit an iceberg, and the hull was indeed broken, or it was damaged. And so at first they felt that, oh, nothing would happen. We prepared for this possibility. And when the water entered into the hull, they were so sure that because they had compartmentalized the insides of the ship, that the water would be contained inside at the particular point where the damage happened. But we all know what happened. There was no such thing like compartmentalization where water was involved. And so the water seeped into that compartment, filled the compartmentalization, and went into every other compartment that possibly existed on the ship. And it seeped all through, and it sank the ship in a magnificent manner. And so the lesson from there for our lives is that we cannot compartmentalize life either. So that if you're doing badly in one area of your life, the likelihood that that bad area will affect other areas is very high. That is the whole point of the Wheel of Life self-evaluation. That if you're doing badly financially, before you know what's happening, it would affect your health. Before you know what's happening, it would affect your social life. It would affect your family, the relationship you have with your family and friends. It would affect the kind of physical environment you are able to afford to live in. In fact, dare I say, it would affect your spirituality. It would affect your personal growth because self-development is expensive. It would affect your career or business. After all, money runs careers, money runs finance. It would affect your love life because, what's that song? Ain't no romance without finance. If you want to be with me, ain't no finance. Anyway, I know somebody here knows that song. But what I'm saying is that if one part is suffering, all the other parts also suffer. Yes, Kemi knows the song. All the other parts also suffer. So imagine if your health is troubled. Please tell me what kind of career you can have if your health is troubled. Please tell me what kind of social life you can have if your health is troubled. Please tell me how you can grow personally if your health is troubled. So that is why in looking at how well we're doing, I'm not concerned about if you made a lot of money last year. I'm not concerned about if you got a good job last year. We're going to look at everything holistically and then see whether your own wheel of life is round and smooth or is doing because when we get to health, it's 4. When we get to finance, it's 6. When we get to career, it's 7. When we get to family and friends, it's 2. When we get to personal growth, it's 8. How can the wheel be balanced like that? So these are the kind of things that we're going to be looking at tonight. If you're still flowing with me so far, let me see a 111 in the chat box. Let me be sure that we're still together and I'm not talking to myself. Can I see a 111 in that chat box? That's right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is how we keep in contact while the presentation is going on before we start taking questions. I want to be sure that we are all together and we are listening. So somebody may now say to me, but coach, now hold on. This thing you are talking about as if, oh, I did something wrong. I had very good reasons why my half year of last year, why my January to June was actually difficult. I have very, very good reasons. If you give me a chance to talk now, in fact, if you hear my story, even you will cry for me. I hear you. I understand. I really feel for you. More than anyone else, I get it. The year was difficult for various reasons, and I've outlined so many reasons here. Look at, for example, physical health. Perhaps there was a loss in your family. I had one in my family half year, and it was very devastating because it was somebody that was the closest to me. Or you had a scary health or medical diagnosis. Or maybe you even had an accident, you did a surgery, and you had to use the whole of the 6 months to recover. Or maybe, you just sat down and because you were tired, you were out of it, you just decided to let everything go and say, well, you not come and kill yourself. So you were just binge watching Netflix, Prime, K-dramas, everything from January to June. You know yourself. I don't have to know. You know what you did, and we're going to find out what you did before this session is over. Or perhaps in the area of your finances, you had serious business challenges. You suffered from exchange rate problems. Perhaps you were one of those that got CBEXed during the first half of the year, which essentially meant you lost a lot of money to scammers. Or maybe you are just addicted to gambling or betting, whatever it was that happened. Or maybe in your relationship, you had a horrible breakup. There was a huge family disagreement. Or maybe you got married to the love of your life, so you couldn't be bothered about checking what your January goals were about anymore because after all, what's happening? New wife, new husband, leave me alone. Or maybe you and your wife had a new baby and it changed the dynamics of your home. So you really couldn't focus on goals anymore. When you're hearing all through the night, who's talking about goals? I say I'm trying to sleep. You're telling me goals, you know? Or perhaps for you, you were like, you know what? People have dealt with me long enough. I don't need anybody. I can do it by myself. Or maybe in the area of your career, you were fired from your job. Some of us lost jobs. Maybe some of us lost jobs January to June, and we're just trying to get back on our feet. Or maybe you changed jobs January to June, and you're just trying to find your feet. Or maybe you were promoted to a higher role. So everybody's calling you man now. You just forgot all your plans for January and you are basking in the euphoria of new leadership. After all, you have car now. I don't know what it was, but, or maybe you are one of those people who have just said to yourself, nothing is happening for me. My boss hates me. So I just kept to myself. I did not make any goals. I just want to survive this year. Let this year just pass. So what I'm saying is that I truly understand that these reasons are valid. I am not in any way undermining that these things happened. But the bottom line is that you did not execute on your goals. Am I lying? No, I am not. Whether the reasons were valid or the reasons were silly, like the fourth reasons, those ones on the far right there, those ones are the most unserious reasons in this place. The point is, plus those who had very good reasons and those who had lame reasons, bottom line, none of us executed. And when we do not execute, we cannot make progress. That's just it. Where there is no execution, there is no progress. So we're going to go through all of these areas once more. And this is the time where I want you to take that pen and paper and I want you to write. And whilst we're going through each of the areas, I want you to think through what you did January to June, and then you score yourself. So let us begin. We start with our physical and mental health. And this is what I want us to do. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being extremely poor, I didn't do well at all on this. It was really, really bad. I don't even think I set a goal for myself in this one. I was just doing anyhow. As the day was coming, I was just meeting it like that. I had no set plans. There was no goal I was planning to achieve. I just lived my life as it was coming. That is 1. Or all the way up to 10, where, my goodness, in this particular area, I could not have done any better. As in, I was too much on every side. I was just too much. In fact, I surpassed my goals in this area. So let's look at the different things that make up the physical and mental health part. So we're saying that from January to June, as far as your physical health is concerned, you ate a balanced nutritional diet all through. You exercised at least 3 times a week. Your bones are strong. Your muscles are bustling. When you climb a flight of stairs, you're not breathing like somebody that just went to go and report that there's fire on the mountain. You don't have to first sit down to catch your breath before you can speak. You are in such great physical health. You take responsibility for your health. You are free from sickness or illness. You do your annual checkups regularly. In fact, this January to June, you've been to the hospital, not because you were ill, but because you just wanted to check your blood pressure, you checked all the necessary areas, you checked your blood sugar levels, your glucose levels, you did a CT scan, you did all those things just to be sure that you're fine. And then you don't drink, you don't smoke, and you don't use hard drugs. And on the mental side, you're all right. You don't feel stressed, you're not overwhelmed, you got this in short, and you are calm and you feel in control of your life. If this is you, just give yourself a 10. If you know you didn't even come near it at all, just move closer to the 1, 2, 3 side. Don't lie, you just write it down. Physical, mental health on a scale of 1 to 10, score yourself. Good. I see somebody say, the Purpose Education said he scored a 7. That is fantastic. Very fantastic score. All right. Please score yourself. And so that we can move on. Then we move on to career or business. Remy says she scored a 5. Chinyeretu says a 5. Oh, I like this. I like as we are being truthful and transparent on the chat box. A 7. Thank you, Emikpe, for being so honest. A 3. Thank you, my dear. Ayo said he got a 10. Did James just say he got a 10?
Yes, ma'am.
Maria Mustafa says she got a 6. Not bad. Ayo is insisting that yes, he did. I'm so proud of you. Osita couldn't even write anything. He just said, oh my goodness. We know what that means. It's okay. We're with you. For career or business, are you growing in skills and responsibilities in your current job or business? So, how clear is your career or business vision for the next 1 to 3 years? Do you feel challenged and fulfilled by the work you do? Are you actively networking and positioning yourself for new opportunities? How visible and valuable are you in your field or workplace. Please rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, in fact, I'm not even sure they know I'm in the office. I just come and I go. Everything happens over my head, around me, but not with me. I'm not called into important meetings. Promotions, I'm not determining it. I'm just looking on to God, the author and finisher of my faith, to help me make something of my life. In fact, where the level I'm at with my career now is like patience. It is well, it's where I am. So just score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Fantastic, fantastic. I see people are writing. Thank you. I'm reading. Thank you. Jenny, did I just see a 1 there? It is well low. All right, all right. So you can see now that some people who had very high in fitness have now come down a little in career. So we can see that for all the different areas, you would not most likely it wouldn't be a straight line across board. Ooh, Kachi, ooh, you didn't tell me about this. Anyway, see me in camera. So some people are doing really well in their careers. I'm seeing 7s, I'm seeing 6, I'm seeing 8. You know, it's great. I've seen some 1, 2, I've seen some it is well. It's all right. The point is we want to be as brutal as possible so that when we're looking at how to make changes, we're actually making changes from the point where we are. All right. I believe we're done with the career. Let's move on to the next one. Personal growth. Personal growth. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well did you do in self-development from January to June? And when I say self-development, I'm talking about what things did you do to improve your personal knowledge, to improve your intellectual knowledge, to improve your spatial knowledge, to improve your social knowledge, to improve your spiritual knowledge. How did you develop yourself? Did you step outside of your comfort zone to grow as a person this year? In other words, if you're somebody who is shy in front of people, did you take some efforts this half year to say, you know what? I hate speaking in public. When I'm in a meeting, I just keep quiet. I don't want anybody to know I'm there. But January to June, I spoke up. I wanted to be more visible. So I spoke up. I took some classes in public speaking. Do you have clear personal goals that you're working towards? Have you identified areas that are deficient, where you are deficient in, and you made clear plans as to how you're going to improve those areas? Tusai says, 1. And I'm looking at Shubomi, who's saying personal growth is way up there at 8.5. That is just fantastic. So how often do you reflect on the progress and your areas of improvement? And how proud are you of the person you are becoming? For me, personal growth is something you have to take because you can't become if you don't evolve from your current self to who you were made to be. Everything you need to be fantastic, great, international, outstanding is all within us. But in as much as we don't prune it, and for as long as we do not clearly push ourselves to come out of our comfort zone, we continue to roll around in that mire of local championism, where you're not pushing yourself to become globally relevant. You're not, look, the world 10, 15 years ago is no longer the world we're in now. So if you're living with the thoughts and actions of how things worked 10 years ago, you're already late to the program. You have to think globally because you're sitting on social media and you're exchanging words on the social page with somebody who is in Australia, with somebody who is in Ontario. Shubomi is joining us from Ontario, Canada tonight. It is because all the infrastructure is so good now that the world has become a small village. It's not even a global village anymore. It's just an internet connection away. So it means your personal development that we're talking about here. I'm not talking about personal development that you learn Microsoft Office Suite to. I'm talking about personal development that makes you globally relevant, where if you get put into any society, you can function. So you're making sure that as you're developing in your career or in your business, you're doing things that if you should find yourself in another environment, you will not only survive, you will thrive. That's the kind of personal development I'm talking about. So please rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm sure we have done that. Okay, let's now move on to the fourth one, which is money and finances. Money and finances, the cocoa of the matter. Because after all is said and done, you cannot be a man of influence without affluence. Have you heard about that story? Apologies to non-Christians. There's a story in the Holy Book that talks about how the poor man's voice is not heard because nobody wants to listen to poverty. Have you experienced those family meetings where everybody is waiting for the last born to come for the meeting because it's the one with the bag of money? The firstborn is there, 20 years older than the last, but he doesn't have money. So yeah, brother is there, but everybody is waiting for Odogu to come so that Odogu can help, because it's only Odogu that can decide the dates, that can decide the venue, that can decide who they're going to invite, because it's the one with the money bag. So how are you doing on your finances? And the first thing I want you to be able to answer is that if you lose whatever you are doing today, as in you get to the office tomorrow and you find out that your job as you know it is gone, do you have anywhere saved, growing, breathing, adding more money, the equivalent of at least 6 to 12 months monthly expenses at this? That is your normal monthly expenses. Do you have about 6 to 12 months of it saved somewhere, such that if you lose your primary income generating job or income generating business, you can survive for the next 6 months while you try to put yourself together? This is what you need to be. That's the real question you need to answer. It's not, have you been saving and investing consistently? This is saving and investing consistently. It could be that you bought 500 shares of Dangote Cement in January, and that's all that you have bought. In January of this year, was it February, I attended the personal financial planning class, and the lady there asked us 12 questions. And she said, if you do not score more than 7, you are in trouble. The first question she asked us was, do you have a will that states exactly how whatever you have will be shared either amongst your children, who will hold it in trust for them if anything happened to you today? You had everybody raise up their hands, and then if you had one, you were supposed to put down your hands. These hands, at least 90% of the class, their hands were still up. And then she asked if you had saved somewhere your children, either in an education trust, the sum assured for your children, if you have 1, if you have 2, if you have 3, you have the sum assured somewhere, either in an education trust, an education insurance, that assures that if something happens to you today, they can at least run their education all through to university level. Again, many hands remained up, because some people said, he didn't even ask if we have the one that we're going to pay in September. He said, do we have till they get to university level? And then she asked if you have ever sat with a personal financial planner and you have a personal financial document that talks about where all your funds are, where your investments are, what you own, what you're truly worth is on a paper, a document. Again, a lot of people. Then she asked if anybody there was tracking how much they spent every single month. Not as they just pay you, just they spend your ATM card. You actually know at the end of each month, oh, I spent 800,000 this month. I spent 750,000 this month, and you know where it all went. Again, not many people. Then she asked if anyone was investing in shares, stock. You know what what TPs are. You know what TBs are. You know what MMMF stand for. You know what, of course, a few of us who have been doing investments over time, we proudly put our hands down. This is like the 6th question now before we could put our hands down. So, but not to waste our time, because we still have a long way to go. The thing is that a lot of us don't think too deeply about just how quickly circumstances can change and your finances, because you currently have a job right now, can suddenly become nothing. So we get comfortable, and this is the big problem with 9-to-5ers. We get so comfortable with getting an assured monthly income that we forget that we don't own the business, and the business does not necessarily have to keep us in the organization forever. So when that job suddenly falls out, we truly are not prepared. I know there are many 9-to-5ers right now who are actually living paycheck to paycheck. No joking, they have no savings whatsoever. And I'm not talking only about those earning maybe below 100,000 or below 200,000. I tell you, I know people earning millions who do not have any savings anywhere, who have no investments anywhere. How are you going to build wealth when you don't even understand how to manage money that is assured? And that is why sometimes when people want to run to entrepreneurship and live 9-to-5, I shake my head for them. And I say, entrepreneurship is not even the funds or the income, at least in the first few years, may not even be regular. So if you can't save on an income that is regular, that you know every month I'll get this. So you can actually plan, divvy it up. I know what percentage you're putting here, no percentage you're putting there. How do you want to plan on the one that you can't even tell whether you have spent the capital with the profit, you know? And everybody wants to rush. Thank you. Some people's salaries by 5th of the month is done fully. They have fully run it through. So carefully put your pen to paper and score yourself on this money finances side. Don't be in a rush to put 10 or 8 or 7. Just carefully think it through. Number 4 says, how prepared are you for financial emergencies? Do you track your spending and stick to a budget? Or is it just, hey, this Nigeria of today, granite oil we're buying for 10,000. It's not 22,000. Where is the savings going to come from? Please, we're trying to survive. Nobody should talk about savings to us. That's where we are. But the point is, as true or as right as those assertions may be regarding the economy, the truth that financial emergencies will happen is still there. So whether the economy is bad or the economy is good, financial emergencies still happen. Let's be fair. I mean, I've said all of these things. Don't be anxious. Don't let fear come into your hearts. There's some of us that at a point now that we're at survival stage. So this savings and investment is not even yet time for you to begin to talk about that. You first need to expand yourself, self-develop to the point where you can earn more first, because it is a real truth that you have to survive first. So let's not make it seem as if, oh, everybody has to save. In this economy, if you're earning below 100,000, you are in serious survival mode. Serious survival mode, because given how things are going, given what things cost, and then if you have children, you know that you can't even be talking savings. What we need to be talking about is that what are the things you need to do to expand your income? What are the things you need to do to increase the number of channels that money is coming to you, rather than you want to squeeze that 70,000 naira? Squeeze it. How can you squeeze 70,000 naira when one fish now is 3,500 naira? The thing is ludicrous. If you go to the market these days, your mouth will just be open. Anyway, I digress. So my point is, at whatever point you are, it's okay. We can start from that point. Okay. So don't feel like, hey, my life has finished. You look at all the things that talking. Somebody is talking will, somebody is talking MMMF. Me, I can't even feed. Don't let that one worry you. We're all at different stages in our lives. Okay. And we're all going to move and improve from where we are. All right. So let's call ourselves on that. Then let's go quickly to physical environment. Physical environment is both your residential environment, that's the home you live in, and then the surroundings or the location where you live. Because believe me, the location where you live determines the kind of outlook you will have towards life. If you live in a place or in an area where all the people you see are, I'll finish you there. That's what you're hearing from your window when you're about to sleep at night. It's tough for you to think abundance thoughts in such an environment. Unlike where you live in an environment where when you look outside, what you're seeing is, now, wow, maybe it's human beings that built this kind of homes that I'm looking at here. Wow. Even if you are in the a BQ, in one nice self-contained in a fantastic estate, do you know that your outlook changes because the kind of people that you're seeing, the kind of people you're experiencing gives you the confidence that if they can make it, I can too. And if you're already one of the big ones, where you're living in an environment where things work, it's decent, it's beautiful, the thoughts that are in your heart are not, oh my goodness, can we just, when am I going to leave this place? We're shouting out there again. This is 12 midnight. Now, don't these people sleep? So the physical environment is so important. Is so important. So what first is where you live personally. The one you have control over is your own home. So before we talk about the environment that, okay, this is the area I can afford. There are people who live in very funny areas, but if you enter into their home, it may not have the best of furniture, but it is clean and uncluttered. They scrub it well, where it's shining. So it is not about just the outsides only. What about the insides? Where you live, is it that when you wake up in the morning and you look, everywhere is upside down, your shoes are under the bed, your bag is behind your head, your clothes are hanging on the door frame, your everything is scattered? Because when you live in clutter, you really can't think straight. It's the truth. When you live in a lot of clutter, your thinking too is cluttered. So how does your environment energize or drain you? More, you see some people who have a lot of money, but you still see them living in certain places. You can see that the environment they are in has not allowed them to think they can do better things with the money that they have. And then there's the issue of safety. Do you feel safe in the area where you live? Or do you know that once it's 7 o'clock, lock gate or lock window, lock door, put the burglary proof, jam the first lock, jam the second one, jam the third one. Oh yeah, run upstairs and jam the one in the middle, because you have become a self-guard room because of how bad the environment you live in is. So please, let's call ourselves on this one so that we can move forward. We haven't even started talking about things we can do to improve our situation. So I'm going to move a little faster. Then we look at our spiritual health. The truth of the matter is that when your inner being is unsettled, your outer expression is also unsettled. When you're not at peace with your creator, when you're not at peace with the universe, when you're not at peace with God in the way that you know how to serve him, it affects every other thing you do. For the non-religious, maybe you may feel like, that this is not really important. But I tell you, man was created with a vacuum inside of him, that something outside of him is the only one that fulfills. So deal with that, however you want to deal with it. But for the purpose of our study, rate your spiritual health as against how consistent you have been with prayer, meditation, devotionals to, whatever religion you're practicing. Do you feel spiritually connected and centered? How often do you intentionally set time apart to grow your faith? How has your relationship with God or your spiritual beliefs strengthened you this year? Do your values align with how you currently live? I'll tell you a short story about this spirituality thing. I'm a Christian, totally sold out. There was some time, I think in 2022 or 2023, I had this big challenge at work. Now, for people who have listened to my webinars, even before I moved to my new place of employment, I've always talked glowingly about the place I worked. I worked there for 14 years. I was virtually a pillar in that place. Nothing happened if I didn't say so. The job where I was traveling because I was doing a lot of training outside of the country. So I had a job where I would travel at least twice a year. I would go to Houston, I'll go to London, I'll go to Orlando. I was going all over the place, fully paid for. You had fun from like 2016 to 2021. I was just rolling all over the place. Anyway, so come 2022, 2023, it's as if one demon just sat on the head of my boss. And the relationship that was so fantastic, nothing happened. I'm telling you the truth. Nothing untoward happened. Not that it was one mistake or project that didn't go right or something personal happened. Nothing. The man just switched like night and day. What is going on here? I couldn't understand it. I thought, oh, did I speak? Maybe I spoke casually to somebody and then somebody, went to whisper something. But then I'm the one who teaches people to be careful how they talk to colleagues. So I'm usually very careful. I don't speak anyhow to anybody. And I kept thinking about it. And then when the relationship got more and more strained, I now moved from being worried to being defiant. What can for all this nonsense now? Come, this is not the only place I can work. A whole workplace mentor like myself, a whole, hey, what qualification are you looking for that I don't have? If I just sneeze now, I will find another job somewhere else. What kind of crap is this one? So, of course, I was coming home to my husband, lamenting every day. And the man would just be calm, just be calm. Me, sat in my house, I was reading my Bible, and my eyes went to a particular scripture. And that scripture is Ecclesiastes 10:4. And when I read it, I'd never seen it before. If the spirit of the ruler is working against you, don't leave your post, for conciliation pacifies great offenses. When I checked another translation, the translation said, if your boss is angry against you, that one was very, very clear. If your boss is angry with you, don't leave your job. I felt that particular line was talking to me, and it was like a direct message or a direct me that this is not the time to be doing yanga and what can I do? What can I do? Just stay there. I know what I'm doing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I stayed there. And when all that negative energy was coming, I just maintained my cool because I was just holding on to that word. It was very real to me. If the spirit of your boss is against you, don't leave your post. I saw it deeper than it just being stay there and collect all the abuses. I felt that it was something bigger that was coming, and I needed to be here while it came. And so I stayed there, and I noticed that when the man saw that I wasn't being defiant, I wasn't being rude, I was just calm. Then his attitude started changing. And I noticed, when you've done something so long and maybe you're trying to get a response out of somebody and the person is not just taking the bait. And then how sometimes when people want to apologize to you, but they don't want to say it out, they don't start doing things, that shows that they're sorry. So I noticed that change in my mind. I just said, now, wow, but what exactly happened? And it was around this time that I got the offer for the new job. This was like a year. I still stayed there a year after I received that word I'm talking about. Not that as soon as I saw the scripture, the next day he changed though. I still stayed there for like a year. But do you know that when this new job offer came, it came through somebody that I had not spoken to for about 6 years. He just called me up and he was like, oh, we need this, and that. Are you interested? And I mean, that one's another long story. And when I went to speak with the people whom I now work with, the people I now work with, it was in fact, I wouldn't even call it an interview. It was so easy. We're just gisting. And at the end of the day, they just asked me, give us your number. What will it take for us to bring you here? Now drop my letter in this place. Oh my God, you should have seen the reception I got. It was befitting of somebody who has stayed in an organization for 14 years. This thing is just to buttress the fact that sometimes, in fact, not sometimes, almost all of the time, I am somebody who believes that, the unseen controls the seen. And so you have to be in tune with your spirituality for you to get the best out of the physical life. Let's stop it there. Score yourself from 1 to 10, and let's see how that goes. And then let's move to the next one, which is family and friends. Thank you. Thank you for those who found the story a great lesson for them. Thank you. So let's move to family and friends. let's not lie, some of us, the family we come from, we're not friends at all, dear. Some of us avoid our family. Maybe we know. Some of us are very cranky, very stubborn families like this. And for some of us, it's not like our families are problematic. It's just that we're not the connecting, the visiting, the reaching out type. So the question is, how present and intentional have you been in nurturing your family relationships? My dear, when all the chips are down, you see all these friends that we think are, the business. Last, sometimes it's those closest relationships. So the family, the ones that you've, the brother, the sister, that when they come to you, you treat anyhow, but you treat strangers better than them. The mom, the dad that you have refused to call for many years now, but they're the ones that are in your corner, come rain, come shine. So we have to be intentional about our family members. And sometimes we think that, especially for those of us who maybe still have aging parents, we think that they'll be there forever. They won't be. I can tell you that. They will not be. So whatever you want to do it now. Don't wait until you are, oh, is this my work? When I'm more settled, I'll be calling them, I'll be going home more. It's not true. The little you can do now, do it. Be present. Let them know that you are there. Make a phone call the people that are present in your life. So I want you to rate yourself with your family. Family could be the family you are coming from or the family you are married into. It could be either a family you're coming from and the family you're married into. So we're talking spousal relationship as well as extended relationship, nuclear and extended. So do you have regular, meaningful communication with those in your close circle? And then there are some of us like me, where we have fantastic best friends. We've been friends for 20, 30 years. And you may not talk to them for 6 months. And the minute you pick up the phone, it's like you spoke to each other yesterday. And I know they are low maintenance friendships, but please make an effort to call them more regularly. Nobody is assured that they will be here forever just because they are young. Maybe we know. So be intentional about calling them. But we're not talking about things to do. Let's look at where we are. Are there unresolved tensions that you've been avoiding? Supportive and connected do you feel to your family and close friends? Do you feel like you are giving and you're also receiving? And if you're in that one that you are the one that everybody wants to suck dry, it's still not a healthy one. No? Friendships should be both giving and receiving. You shouldn't be only on the giving side or only on the receiving side. So make sure that, when you are rating yourself, think of all these things. If you've been giving and giving to all your blood has now turned white, you are not in a healthy family and friend relationship. Or if all you are doing, you're the one that your hand is open, everybody is giving you, brother, uncle, sister. Once they see your phone call like this, they know that, she wants to bill me again. You're also not in a great relationship, family relationship, because a healthy relationship is giving and receiving. So let's score that, family and friends. Let's score family and friends very quickly. And I think the final one is fun and recreation. Now, for this one, a lot of 9-to-5ers fail in this one, especially when you have demanding jobs. A few days ago, or was it maybe 2 weeks ago, I posted that going on leave is not just for emergencies. You should actually take your leave sometimes. Maybe most organizations have 20 days, 21 days, some even have more. You should take 5 days off just to enjoy. You don't have to go anywhere. Your own time. There have been movies you've been wanting to watch, you've not had time since the beginning of the year. My brother, my sister, cross your leg, watch all those Premier Leagues that you have not watched. Put a nice drink beside you, put some kwanu kwanu, like they will say in my village. Put some kwanu kwanu by your side. Kwanu kwanu is, dry meat, dry fish, all those things that you put one in your mouth, then you wash it down with some very good palm wine or some wine, your red wine or white wine. So you just be that, you would day, like they say in Nigeria, you go just day. So how often do you spend time doing things just for fun? Some of us don't even know how to have fun anymore. It's work, 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 work. I mean, work, 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 work is all you do. You think that if you're not there, everything will scatter. It's a lie, yo. Nothing will scatter. The day you leave, they put another person there. In fact, I'm the one who starts thinking about who to put there because I'm the head of HR. Once I see you are falling sick like this, as much as I like you, as much as I'm the one sending you to HMO, doing at the back, I'm already planning for your replacement. That's the brutal truth. because my role is to make sure that the company is staffed and there's no downtime in operations. So once I'm hearing, the sickness is severe, oh God, she may have to be off for 2 months. And I'm like, wow, I'm so sorry. In my mind, I'm already thinking, who can take the job all this time that she's going to be away? Who is going to do it? Who is going to do it? I have to think like that to be a good people manager. I have to think like that. So that's why when I tell people, I beg, just enjoy day your day. You see this life, eh? Don't die for anybody's this thing. Even yourself, don't kill yourself on any matter. Just do the best you can. I'm not one to say, oh, just do things shabbily. No. I believe in you working with all of your, all the skills that you have. But please take some time out and have some fun. I learned that early in my career. I don't play with my leave days as they're looking at me like this. Part of the reason why I'm relaxed like this and speaking, because I have leave from Monday to Friday. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not traveling. I just felt that I had worked for 1 full year in my new organization. I didn't take any leave because, you're just trying to show them what you can do. So I didn't take any leave at all. So this from Monday to Friday, I'm taking the whole 5 days. I'm not going to do anything important other than sit in my living room. I'll watch Netflix. I'll watch all the K-dramas I've not watched. I'll do some of this type of work, write my new ebook that is coming out. So those are the things I just want to do. I just want to be for myself, so I'm going to use the next 5 days to do that. So you should also take time for fun and recreation. Do you laugh and unwind enough with the people you enjoy? When was the last time you tried something new or adventurous? When was the last time you bought yourself something nice that you're like, you look good in this thing, my dear girl? That's you talking to yourself. See this fine shoe as it fits your leg, my dear guy. You deserve something good. Some of us make so much money and we make it for every other person in our lives, especially men. This is where men fall short. They will work hard, make the money. Their son will ask for, mommy, their wife say, school fee, they pay. And this one, okay. I mean, I know there are deadbeat men out there, but we don't give enough accolades to men who are truly responsible. We do not. That's just the truth. Sometimes when I hear when people castigate men, me, I've never experienced those kind of men. My husband is very fantastic. It's from time to time, make sure that you take some time for yourself. Every time we have to travel as a family, I'm always the instigator, because if you leave it to my husband, he won't even remember. I would have done everything, bought the tickets, done the visas, everything. I say, we're traveling. No, you say, does it align with the time I want to? It aligns. And then I bundle him and everybody, and then we go. That's how it happens. So for fun and recreation, how purposeful are you about making sure that you relax? Score yourself on a rating of 1 to 10. So we have now gone around the 8 different critical growth areas. So how did you do? Is your own will balanced like the one on the left, where you can see 1 to 10? So because everything is 1 to 10, can you see? It's very round. Or is it like mine that is on the right here? Imagine that this is the wheel. This is the shape of the wheel that this person wants to use to drive from Lagos to Aba. Tell me if the person will get there. Do we see? Because he has 5 in social, 8 in career, 6 in financial, or maybe 7, 5 or 6 in spiritual, 2 in physical, maybe 6 again in a mental, and then family 8. So how is your will balanced, or is your will wobbling? Let me hear in the comment section.
Wobbling.
B or W? Is it balanced or is it wobbling?
Wobbling.
Okay, it's okay for it to wobble. It's okay for it to wobble. There's nothing wrong. In fact, it would be strange if it is very smooth. It either means that the person is so narcissistic that they're not self-aware enough to evaluate themselves properly, or God just decided to use them as a lesson to the rest of the world how great things can be. So it's either that if you have a very well-rounded will, you are either a pointer to the rest of the world that life can be this good, or you're so narcissistic that you're not self-aware enough to rate yourself properly. So for those of you who rated yourself wobbly with your full chest, congratulations. You are the ones that really want a solution. All right, let us move on quickly.